Alrighty.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning. So Meg is back from her expo. Spoilers, there was a hurricane, so we'll see how her pitch, practice, and invitation to engage went. But first, I'm Alec from Easier Habits. I am a business coach and productivity consultant for entrepreneurs, and this is Meg.
Hi. Yes, I am a global English communication coach. So whether you're a native speaker or a non-native speaker, helping people to communicate using English in a global setting.
Yeah. So not just the grammar, but like actually meeting your business goals using English and communication skills. So we'll take it away with a communication tip.
Yes. Okay, so we were talking this morning about some things, but one of the things is the idea of telling your story, because if you want to be remembered, then the best way to do that is with story. And so if you're just trying to communicate facts, right, those will probably go in one ear and out the other. However, if you're able to frame those facts in some type of story, then the listeners, your audience, are going to remember you much more easily because they'll connect with it on an emotional level or something else. But again, it's kind of the idea of if you list off like couch, brain, snap, whatever, and try to remember those later, it's hard. But if you can make a story out of them, right? It's one of the mnemonic or whatever.
Our brains are, mnemonic devices. Our brains are literally wired to remember stories better than like random lists.
Yep. So tell your story.
All right. So we had two invitations that we practiced before you went off to your expo. An invitation to people who are already familiar with you to, I think, do some kind of recording, right? And then an invitation to people you're getting to know to join your email list so you could email them some tips.
Yep. And I ended up not meeting anybody really that I didn't already know. Very, very brief introductions for, a couple of people, but like Alex said, there was a hurricane. So we had Hurricane Nicole, which hit off of the coast of Florida, and then we got kind of some of the backlash or residue or whatever about 2 hours into the start of our event. And so I barely had time to, help out with our booth, let alone walk around to other people and get to know them. So, that just kind of shows, all right, sometimes you prepare for something that ends up being different, and that's okay. Excuse me. But as far as the ones where I was talking to the people I did know, I had two people in mind that I really wanted to do something with, as far as a collaboration. And I approached them in very similar ways, I think, to what we had talked about as far as, this is what they have going on. Here's something I would like to do. Is that something you would be comfortable with? And so for one of them, especially because she was supposed to perform at this thing and wasn't able to, I wanted to find ways to help her still get her presence out there because she really just wants to share Japanese dance with people. And so I pitched the idea very quickly, actually, of how about we do an interview via YouTube and post that online. And I can, we'll do it in English so that you can reach that audience, and I can help if there's any, places where she's having trouble expressing herself. And she sounded so excited about that. So it was really nice and really, just good to confirm that. And then the other person is I was wanting to do something like an English lesson that we could then post online. And, again, similar to, what we talked about, he's got these certain goals for kind of global outreach. And would he be comfortable with us having a couple of sessions online and, going and showing what that's like? And he, again, was very enthusiastic, yes, about that. So, yay.
Nice. That's great. Well, and I think, so there's that opportunity that you were prepared for. That went really well, especially because you were ready, right?
Yay!
With something specific, you practice it, etc. I think there's an opportunity even in missed opportunities with events. And so an example of something you might be able to do is, a lot of people are just going to be like, well, there's a hurricane. Oh, that's sad. Move on with my life. Yeah. But there might be a few people still searching about the expo. And so the idea is, like, for instance, if you post on Twitter, with whatever expo hashtag, for instance, people who are still like searching or like wondering what they missed, or at the expo, they might find you. It might be people who went there, it might be people who weren't going there, but like were like, what happened? And so if you're one of the few sources of people that's actually posting something, right, then they can find you on social media. And then you could also search yourself for like terms related to that to see if anyone else is posting about it and connect with them over that. Because the missed opportunity is as great, almost as great a bonding experience as being able to go meet. So I think there's an opportunity for outreach there.
Definitely.
All right, you have 2 days. So before you're heading off to New York with a different project. And so what are your priorities?
Well, and this is where I have to, be realistic, right? Because I want to dive into business and all of that, and I will. I also have like chores and stuff to do, right? I need to unpack the stuff that I had before. I have to repack. I have to go grocery shopping. There's all of the like logistics of life that I want to make sure that I get in addition to, this type of outreach. And so, that's kind of going to be one of my things this morning is really prioritizing. But, I think a lot of it is connecting with these people. And I really like that suggestion of, okay, so there were people who didn't get to go, how can I connect with them, reach out to them, and give them a little bit of what our group at least would have offered. Because that was one of the things that was really unique about the group I was with, is that all of the other vendors, as far as I know, were relatively local, either to Houston or Texas or, somewhere around here. We were the only group that was actually from Japan. I mean, the other vendors were Japanese, but living here in the States as opposed to from Japan. And so that was one of the ways I was, helping get people into our booth. Like, hey, look, this is real Japan, like real Japanese people. It's so cool. And I think that's what festivals like this are for.
So are people in the United States not real Japanese people?
No, they are. It's just like these people brought their stuff from Japan.
From Japan.
Sorry. Recently. Like these people live in Japan now, and all of the goods and stuff that they brought over were like handmade products and other things that were made in Japan.
Including this, I believe?
Yes! So this I got from Domi-san. She's amazing. She's the one who does the Japanese dance. And this is kind of like an all-purpose, like house jacket / spring coat / whatever. And it is the most comfortable thing ever.
It's navy. You love navy?
I do. Hers is bright. Hers is magenta, which is beautiful, but doesn't really go with my hair. So, yeah, she sells these, and she gave me one.
All right.
As a present.
Well, so let's break it down a little bit.
Okay.
How much time do you need to reserve for, like, chores?
A grocery trip and such is probably going to take at least a couple of hours. Unpacking, laundry, packing, because I still have clothes that are wet from the hurricane.
Oh, yeah.
They smell now. So, some things I can do at the same time, right? Obviously, taking a shower and all of that fun stuff. And just making sure I have stuff set up for going to New York on Wednesday. And I know how I'm getting there and all of that. So I'm going to say over the next couple of days, at least 8 hours worth of chores.
8 hours? So that's like one full day down. You have one day.
Kind of, yeah.
Okay. So, you have one day. Are you going to focus on chores today or tomorrow?
I think I'm going to split it up.
You're going to split it up? Okay, 4 hours each day?
Yeah.
All right. So 4 hours each day. So how much follow-up do you have with the people you've talked to?
I was just starting to do my first one right before we were doing this. And so I'm thinking as far as all of the people I'm going to reach out to, just like quick notes will be fast. And then there's a couple of people I want to talk to a little bit more in depth. But obviously, since I'm leaving day after tomorrow, it's not like we're going to be able to do
have
a
those
lot.
Conversations.
Exactly. Right? So I don't have to worry too much about that, but I do want to do the outreach. So I'm going to reserve at least an hour for that.
Yeah. So we'll just round it up, like an hour for follow-up, an hour for outreach.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that sounds good.
6 hours of work that you still have.
Yay.
To be able to do.
Yay.
So one thing that I was researching and listening to is Grant Cardone talk about, marketing, how that's, one of the number one skills, partially because so everybody needs it. So like if you had to start a business, and he did actually, he went on Undercover Billionaire, and where they gave him $100, he couldn't contact any of his friends or use any of his like existing tools or software or anything. Had $100, was in a trailer, had to start from scratch and build $1 million business in 3 months. And he built a $5 million business by shooting for a $10 million business in 3 months. But the angle he went is it took him like 10 days or something like that, or something to land his first $10,000 marketing deal. And then take that success. So that was interesting. So he's someone who has used marketing very effectively to build an entirely new marketing-based business in 90 days and sell it off. So that's impressive. And his thing was, marketing, and the way to do that, there aren't like shortcuts, but there are grindier, harder ways of doing things. And he was talking about automated sales funnels. And, basically there's some stuff that I've been putting off that I think we can both work on, would be, find a video where people are looking to solve the problem that you solved. The video is just going to be a snippet of information. People need information like they need a hole in the head. Like, we're drowning in information. We don't need more information. We need the right information. We need to like practice it, and we need feedback, right?
Yeah.
And so presenting, an ad for how our services will help them actually put into practice, for example, the things they learned in that video and get X results. You have that video, then, it can lead to a funnel on our websites that hopefully is setting appointments for us automatically.
Yeah.
So that is what I want to start getting into. So in your other 6 hours, I would say if you have additional time, then look into that. And specifically, I'm into YouTube ad videos. I think there's kind of a barrier to entry in terms of like a lot of people can throw up a Facebook ad, or a Google ad is just a little bit of text. But I've heard that YouTube ads are very effective because you can target them to the content, right? Facebook ads just appear in your feed. You can't say like, show this to people looking at this post, right? And, Google ads are for a search generally, but anyway. And so like YouTube ads are very targeted, and the fact that it may be a little less saturated with the video, that's why I'm focusing on that. Yeah. And so thinking about videos, so someone looking to work on their English and expand into US markets, like what kind of videos are they watching? Finding that would be one challenge, and then thinking about what it is you want to be known for. And this will segue into my business tip. So if you want to be known, this works whether you're inside a company and you're networking to get promotions, or whether you're building a business. Unfortunately, the more things you try and be known for, the less people will remember you, because it's harder to remember. So if you really want to be known, you want to be known for one thing, and you want to think about what is your most important message to give to the world. And if you're like me, you're probably like freaking out, like, I have so many things to say. I can only say one. I can help you narrow this down from, my own experience, what I'm observing, and other people who get known, and become successful. Very frequently, what they are known for is not a bit of information or a product or service. It is a perspective shift. So you're looking for the most important perspective shift for your clients, customers, to be successful, to be happy, to have better relationships, whatever it is they are, chasing. And so examples of that, so sometimes that is more explicit. I would say Simon Sinek is a motivational speaker who talks about, a leadership consultant, I think, primarily. And his big thing that launched him in his consultancy to success is start with why. People talk about what they do, and he's saying start with your cause, right? And that's a fundamentally different way of looking at the world, and he gives examples for why the most successful companies are like that. So I guess the formula here is perspective shift and impact.
Yeah.
And so he's essentially saying, be like, I think in his big talk, start with why, so you can be like Apple, because Apple's the big hotness and everyone liked Apple, and Steve Jobs, etc. This was like a decade ago or whatnot. But I think there are other people who've done an implicit perspective shift. So Mel Robbins was someone I think that did a TED Talk and has showed up in a lot of places I think since then and been interviewed. And like her big thing that I remember when she was breaking on the scene was just like, the way to stop procrastinating is simply like count down backwards like a space launch. And it's like, there's not a lot of intellectual content there. It's not like groundbreaking. But the perspective shift implicit in this tip is motivation is not something you have or do not have. Motivation is not something that's like super hard that you have to go through this, this difficult process to obtain. You can hack motivation. That is basically the perspective shift underlying that simple tip. And I think why that was attractive to a lot of people.
Yeah.
So whether what you're selling is knowledge-based itself, like language coaching, or business coaching, or whether you are teaching people in your market to attract an audience. You have a physical product, right? Our Kazu traditional Japanese tea avatar, right? There might be a perspective shift on like improving your life with tea, enjoying tea, like incorporating it into the rituals of your life, right? That like you can enjoy your life more by using tea as a way to slow down, or something like that, right? Like that would be a perspective shift. They're like, oh, calmness doesn't have to be something I have to go to a meditation retreat for, or like, where that I can't achieve as an anxious type A super high, high achiever person. All I need to do is schedule tea time. Right? Like that's a perspective shift around a physical product, right? What is the tea? How's that tea operating in their life, and how is it going to make them better? And you pair that with a perspective shift, and then you have your messaging. So if you want to be known for one thing, and that's hard to choose, but the easy way to find that one thing is think about the perspective shift that will have the most transformative impact on your customers, and that's what you market. And then your products or services are things that help people achieve that perspective shift or leverage that perspective shift for some kind of benefit or result.
Awesome.
All right. Well, thank you for dropping by, watching the video. Notice how much shorter these are when I have Meg, because she keeps me on track. And so one of the things I jokingly reached out to you on Twitter about was, so I had like a 50-minute video just thinking about like coaching and evaluating our coaching sessions and you as a coaching client. And I was thinking a lot of people might watch that if we titled Communication Coach Destroys Business Coach Husband After Insane, and like I'm using that tonality for like the all caps, insane rant.
Oh dear.
Would that be good? Can we do an episode? Maybe not tomorrow, but like soon.
Destroy you.
All right.
I'm so like non-confrontational.
I'm trying to work on my clickbait here.
Okay.
My clickbait game. Anyway, so maybe that will be coming up. Probably tomorrow we'll be talking a little bit more about like going into the sales funnel, and that message is the follow-up. But next week maybe Meg can respond to the video, or let's see. Yeah, next week.
Yeah. Before
Thanksgiving. So that's exciting. Yeah. Anyway, please like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, all the things. Share this if this has been helpful. We would love to create and encourage a community of entrepreneurs who are working at becoming their best selves, maybe struggling with marketing, positioning, getting a repeatable sales process. That's what we're working for right now. So like, you could type in questions. We have a chat. It appears to be empty today. So there's all sorts of ways we would love to interact with you and engage with you. If you are a solopreneur, you're starting a small business, etc., and you're thinking through these same problems about how to market, how to reach out, how to get a consistent sales process that gets you the customers or clients that you're looking for at, the rate that actually pays the bills. So,
yep, definitely.
All right. Until next week, make big changes one small habit at a time.
Bye.
Or I guess until tomorrow.
Yep.
That was my old sign off.
Right.
I did weekly videos. Old habits.